South Africa, your classism is such that if you were to meet a chick, if at all kusekasi and she knocks door to door and saying if at all she's selling magwenya outside of your corporate every single day, until the same chick has a YouTube channel and she's coming from Korea from her apartment as a teacher over there, then you're gonna be like, isn't this the chick megathengisa magwinya outside of my corporate, outside of each company to last sevenza khona, except here in last deal no muntu ne degree go to thengisa magwinya. This woman has a degree, mara o rekisa snowfish. This woman has a degree, mara ntse le busy. How would you like to buy the keepa ke rekile go China reselling? There was a time when my mom educated honest level HR. My mom is an executive today. Mara there was a time when with years of work experience, na rekisa diaparo. I reka go China, I di resell. Nje fela to keep food on the table. Meganyatswa during that season because she was unemployed. Kodwa le mali that she was making from the sales then kept rent paid ejardini and koloi. Yeah, azange repossess. Somehow this little money, the keeper so rekisang, it amounts to a lot. It adds up. Finally my mother got umsebenzi omunye. Kodwa I mean imagine nje fela urekisa di keeper. Imagine fella urekisa di ring, urekisa acha, di goda. Unali degree dog, unali work experience in corporate. Kodwa kuna mtu ofuna ukuhira. Uzwenzani if at all you don't leave the country? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? This chick is doing this apprenticeship. Baba Noguti, it's gonna take me 10 years to get to Korea if I only save up this little mashankura. So what then does she do? Watengisa I acha, and acha tengi unaita profit 1,200 rands from it per week. Look at that. I acha 1.2 per week. Upokatela 1. I don't have that money. I was like, I didn't know there was so much money to be made in Acha. Anyway, whatever. OCQ wins a 1.2 ka Acha. So now she's got 1.2 from Acha, and then she's got 800 rand from the apprenticeship that she's saving every week. And this stuff, of course, at the end of the month adds up to 8,000. And she was able to save luggage, the flight tickets, this, that, and the other. And she did this with a friend of hers, the two of them. This was their strategy. Of course, you can't move to Korea without a degree. Na ufundile. Kodwa naye mekahlezi nje fela gathering dust ekasi baplana lobo ticket baplota labo sisters. And again, ticket is another word that I never would have used back in the day, but now I'm actually using their territory words. Baplota labo ticket chicken bathi ehle asizogwenya ikraken yase South Africa yasemzansi mara asizogwenywa thina. Give a kraken from South Africa ingathi we are Jack Sparrow at World's End or whatever. No, bahana lo gwenya ke kraken yamzansi bahana just like lena ke hanne ukwenywa ke kraken ya lona ke re ke a tsamaya le tlonkwenya le balang bahan ba rekisa di acha bana ba batho ba loisa di internship di apprenticeship tse sa bonahaleng ba kwenya mathi ba underestimatewa mara after jara ne ba savile tšhelete teng ne ba bookile di flights ba fika go Korea kajeko ba re fa advice kajeko ba na le di YouTube channel kajeko they are gaining experience in the international market as teachers. And manje when you've got taught in Japan, taught in Korea, when you've got work experience across the world, that stuff rings so beautifully on your curriculum vitae. Anyway, if you have proven that you can work internationally and be willing to relocate and survive the international market, you can work in PR and marketing and media and project management across the world. And manje labantu, they've got degrees. A lot of them start in Japan, Korea, etc., Thailand. But my goodness, they end up in the UK in corporate over there. They end up in the US in corporate over there. They end up. And labantu laba abangenanga in any of these countries through umchato. The only way that we can survive out there in the international market is if we succeed to get passport bros. We don't care about these passport bros. In ourselves, we are work capital in a country that's willing to take us on board. But first you gotta get experience somewhere. It's a slip into the door of some other country. And once you've got international experience on your CV, my darling, the sky's the limit. One of the ladies said, yeah, South Africa, I came here on holiday one time from Japan. She married her South African husband, an Afrikaans man. She is black. And the two of them have just been moving all over the show. And they've got a baby. And she came home while her husband was setting shop in New Zealand. Because they moved to all over. And now they finally just settled in New Zealand. Okay? But before then, the husband had to set up shop. She had a baby. That's why she had to come to South Africa. And when she was in South Africa, she did a video. And she was like, once you have seen how good the lives of people in the international market is, just in terms of the services of their governments, I know you will struggle with South Africa, dog. You will struggle. Once you've been there, even though you're an expat, even though you're not yet a resident or even a citizen, you will strive to get citizenized. You will strive for it. And I said in my videos, Uguti, there was a time when South Africa was so excellent that I could never live anywhere else. That has changed. And it is changing in the taste buds of everybody else out there in the diaspora. Asifuna ukubuya, even though bafuna ukusibuyisa, abona Lady Pando, bafuna ukusibuyisa. No, what am I coming back to? All this crazy, like, infighting. What am I coming back to? This misogyny. What am I coming back to? This gender-based violence. What am I coming back to? Femicide. What am I coming back to? Disregard for my person, having left me out on a limb, trying to impregnate the living crap out of me, even though you don't make no kind of sense to be my baby daddy. What am I coming back to? Disregard of my religion, my faith, disregard of your own constitution pertaining my rights. What am I coming back to? Halal food littered all over the shelves, even though I am not a Muslim. What am I coming back to? Load shedding. What am I coming back to? Insufficiencies, indiscretions, disregard of my experience, my education, and what I have to offer to the country. What am I coming back to? Right, the lady that sold iacha made me realize ukuthi grandshop I've been a snob. Because mina ngihanilo ukuthengisa iacha because andibona ukuthi mina ngihlangani kangakanani, andibona ukuthi mina ngisebenza kabuhlungu kangakanani, andibona ukuthi I'm so skilled guys, why must I go and sell iacha? Maybe I should have sold the iacha, and then on that day I might have left South Africa at 35 and not so much at 41 or at 42. If I had agreed, however, insofar as I was looking forward to the future, I would have raised these funds early, paid off my fees at Wits, gotten my degree, and then gotten on Isifufani a lot earlier. But I guess it's only happening now because that was the determination of God. Mara, just the fact that abantu abafundile kwamele bayothengisa iacha, that is the travesty. That is the travesty. One of them, like I said, apprenticeship restaurant to do what we don't know, and then on top of that, watengisi acha, and that got her to Korea, teaching in a private school, Korean kids. Another one, different lady, different YouTube channel. Yena nasebenza ko call center. Like I said earlier, umuntu one degree wenzani call center. Umuntu one degree uyenzani e call center. Yena yeo kimzalwane. Channel yakhe, she's out just sharing her faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. What is a degreed woman doing in the call center? Our men want us answering calls with BCom accounting degrees, with BA marketing degrees. What is going on? There are some people, another man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, another country's trash, one country's trash is another nation's treasure. And it appears that we are treasured out here, at least insofar as we teach English. And so whatever it is that we in the diaspora are getting taken up for, we'll go, guys. We wanted to build our Africa, we wanted to build our South Africa, we wanted to build our own countries, but you said no. So we will go where it is that we will be regarded as treasure. All my skills, my expertise, all the advice that you keep on taking and employing it in your own organizations, and yet you won't even give me an opportunity. I said nobody can ever unconvince me of leaving. I'm leaving. It's already done. The damage is done. But this here is the amount, the nugget of advice that I can give you. In spite of your crazy, I was your trash, but I'm someone else's treasure. I'm not here. I am not here for your looting. I'm not here for you to salvage scraps like Mamela, strip me like a car that's been stolen by gangsters for parts. I'm not that thing. And there will be some space out there in the wilderness that's gonna get that. It's gonna see what you lost. And worse yet, men. I am somebody's wife. I was your trash. Black men that I liked, black men that I wanted to be with, Nina Basekasi, Nina Wemejo Twosital, Nina Ningi treated like I was nothing. Listen, you even frowned on all that which I was because I was unemployed. Passed me up for no other reason but in the msebenzi kodwa maningi lalela ngikhuluma niyazi ukuthi ngihlakaniphile futhi I'm skilled. How in the world you downsized my value based on no other thing but my unemployment? Is just bizarre. And there are all these women chilling in South Korea right now that you look up to with all their fabulous YouTube channels only because they got there. However, did they not have to run in order to get rescued by a nation that would give them the value that you refuse to give them? Now, my sister, Korea. I have a cousin, Korea. The moment you start to say, to you, I have a family member, they are working in France. Everybody starts to think they're so special. Yeah, Maramundo Kona that's now working in France. Mega tengisi acha dog. Acha. And when Nanzali Pizza Rekisa Acha, no snatabaka najwa. How cut it? Nahe, Hanno Rekisa Acha. The give feel a little bit uncomfortable about Tabareke Hanne Mara. At least I don't have to sell it anymore because my mom is good. Jimmy now. My family is helping my cause along now. Kerekela di phone ing. So ke help wa along. Ki tuswa kadi Wi-Fi, ki tuswa kadi solar panels, kadi tuition fees and what have you. So I don't have to experience ukuthi kunjani ukunyatselwa indaba ukuthi mina ngikokota from house to house ngithengisa acha. Kodwa abangani bami basesikolweni. The way the way the way we were shooting so high, the way that we were all destined to become so great. If at all they were to basically see me acha, they would all cry because what have you done to me? It's a travesty what's going on. Because of their sabotage, one of their own ended up in jail, even though there were stars eskolweni. Would have ended up saying athengisa ikipa acha, snowfishy dog, kirikisa magwenyana, the baby. Diphahlo, like I said earlier, Talia ko Pitori, utlwa. La ntlhangetse lona le batlang gore ke lokisa ke lo rekisa sephahlo ko kasi. La ntlhangetse. Angifuni ukuthengisa amakoda. Kodwa bakhona abantu abathengisa amakoda and suck and hunker down. Sucked it up. Indaba yokuthi ngiyabanyatsa manje even though batho. Weren't you at varsity nonke? Weren't you out here doing exams nonke? Weren't you all submitting assignments nonke? You were. Kodwa lo akawutholanga umsebenzi. If anything, you sabotaged her. Now that she's in Korea. I have a friend osebenza ko Korea. Nomonyatsa na kola rekisa acha ke. Nomonyatsa hana rekisa acha ngwana batho. Mara nelebala same degree. And futhi mekashaya esikolweni. Aphasa kukundlula. However, struggle to get work. Either because the South African market iyahlanya or i-boyfriend yakhona decide ukuthi i-medium yakudala ayizothola umsebenzi. During the time when she was studying, and now I'm jealous that she's about to start working. Abamo thought the career prospects. When about to I need to leave South Africa. Abafi go somewhere else. Ooh, my cousin, she's working in Korea. Ooh, my cousin, she's working in Cameroon. Ooh, my cousin, she's working in give me a country, Australia. As soon as they leave the country and they work in a foreign nation, even if it's in Africa, another part of Africa. It's like, ooh, I've got a person in the diaspora. Umuntu akithi uzovakasha ngokhelesimazi. Sizomcollecta, sizompick up airport. Umuntu wakhona momnyatsa ure when she was selling amagipki. During the years when I was doing this content. Ure! Nyatsoms. Yinla. After nekisale trafficking go corporate, wasn't I better than you at listen everything? I was. And you robbed me of all that. And now I'm about to regain it in a space where I can. And now all of a sudden, I'm worth the while to marry. I'm worth the while to put a ring on that finger. I'm worth the while to be out there regarded as more than just nether regions that look like they taste like candy. I taste just like candy. So dance with me. When you look at me talking all up with my personality flares and everything, you think I taste like candy down below. And so you would love to experiment with with Mr. Willy Wonka's factory in my nether regions. But I mean, make out of me a woman that is regarded pertaining her convictions? Forget it. The fact that I don't fornicate, I don't have sex out of wedlock, you're trying to light it up and it's not gonna give, it's not gonna suffice. But not first before continuing to undermine all that which I is. Because it's trying to be in keeping with good grammar out here in these streets where I'm underestimated anyway. Anyway. Don't know bad. Yeah, I said that. Don't know bad. Or ain't no bad. But now what was a man no rekisang acha, and so far as it gets you to Japan, it's on the degree alone halisingi na. Halisingi chalte abatswadi, halisingi financial aid, halisingi student loan, balang le fits, and then go overseas with your degree. That's what South Africa is begging for. Nina Majenzis, before nizolwala and make yourselves vampires and destroy national infrastructure and bring down statues of Nelson Mandela. Go Sentence Square. Before South Africa ngare ke boroto. Before they close your own country, ngare ke the gingerbread house. Before they close your own country, ngare ke the gingerbread house in Hansel and Gretel. Until they ain't nothing like lookable anymore. Your country. Before you eat your country like it's the gingerbread house. Just go to the diaspora. Don't be so mad that you will break down and destroy national infrastructure, because then on that day you're gonna hate where you stay. You're not gonna like it anymore when it's been devastated, because when you could not help but be so angry until you rammed into the union buildings with your dad's SUV. Do not eat your country like it's the house in Hansel and Gretel. Just get your degree, even if it's on financial aid. Finish it. That student loan off from the diaspora. You will pay as you grow in another country. It is a waste of your skills in this nation, of your energy, of your time, of how much you burn the midnight oil in South Africa. Oh, your food and jenga twinja. Yes, your cent. We get it. It might disincentivize you altogether from doing that. It might disincentivize you so much that you might want to drop out, but finish your degree. Because only with that degree are you getting to China, are you getting to Japan, are you getting to Korea. Are you getting to France, Europe? It's not, I'm looking at Asia because I'm trying to fill Asia, you know what I'm saying? But like, it's in Europe too. If Spain is right up your alley, you can go to Spain on ESL. And again, there are countries that are just very restrictive of foreigners as to what you can do in that nation. Like Korea is very restrictive, but that's where God is taking me, so I'm happy to go there. However, there are nations that once you're in that country, you really can try to strive to get a residency in a short space of time. And once you have residency, you can apply in corporates over there insofar as you can speak the language. Insofar as you are polishing up on your Spanish, if you're in Spain, you can actually get a job in corporate Spain. And I mean, it takes about 3 years to be fluent enough in a language for you to work in its workforce. About 3 years. And I mean, 3 years is how much work experience you'd need to acquire anyway as an English teacher in that country. So, trying to work in corporate Spain after just a year. Work 3 years. Get your work experience for 3 years. And after 3 years, after being on Duolingo and in yourself, going on Preply and learning the Spanish language, get the language in your bones. And once you have the language in your bones, you can now work in corporates in multiple countries. In Amanja with Spanish, languages like French, Spanish, you can work in so many countries, so many other countries. You can work in South America. You can work in in the US, you can work in Mexico, you can work in. So like, listen, there's no, sky's the limit, my darlings. Move to another country, teach English there, and while you're there, learn the local language. And then try to see if you can't just make like a digital nomad, not digital nomad, but a nomadic employee. A nomadic employee that can work everywhere else. And the beauty about being a nomadic employee and that works everywhere else is that once you have worked in a foreign country from your own, it becomes very easy for people to recruit you, hire you anywhere else in the world. Get your foot in. Get your degree though. I used to love education. And South Africa made it a bitter taste in my mouth because it's like, for what? But now it appears there are some countries that are happy that you did get that degree. So get it, even if it's on student loan, get it and pay your loan off over 5 years after working, but at least you are traveling, dog. And your wife or your husband might be somebody very, very exotic in another country. So you out here broadening your horizons, making some very exotic looking children. Leave South Africa. Don't eat into it like the gingerbread house in that fairy tale or whatever you want to call it, a ghoulish tale. There's nothing fairy about it. So yeah, South Africa, you're diabolical. Okay, listen to that, but not. For the devastation the nation is facing. My heart is broken for what's gonna come here. And so all I can do is tell these Gen Zs that have got these degrees that can't work, do what the Che did and go in the diaspora and don't destroy your country because you're mad. But as for the rest of us, I just want my husband and my very cute babies. Everything else, digital, hop up and down like a kangaroo on the earth. I'm old. But there are ways out of this crazy thing that South Africa has done to its own citizens. But as for those who are going to stay here in the country, South Africans, if these monstrosities that think I'm their wife and side piece, all in one sitting, or they're polygamous settler, these people who want to colonize my womb like they are colonizers or whatever, if they repent, you might hear my message. If they don't, all I can say is stay alive for as long as it takes for me to get to Korea. Then maybe I can try and reach you from there. But that's how stubborn this country is. That's how selfish and greedy, rapacity these men are. They've got wives, they've got children, they've got lives they've got lives that they can be proud of. They've got legacies that they're presently building, and yet they keep on trying to destroy the futures of women that don't want them, but because they know magic, they just keep using it on us. And among them are our politicians that out here are even enduring people in this middle working class suburb. This working class suburb that I live in, they're making people living even there endure 24-hour power cuts. That you are content with your teachers navigating cars out of parking lots is problematic. It is problematic at best, and at the least, it is catastrophic. You're ridiculous. Listen, you are ridiculous. What have you done to me? I made this an addendum. I can't help but like rap. Now watch the 14-part series and hear me talk about how it is I'm already in Korea and how you're destroying your countries. 30 parts long. How many parts is this? 50? No, it's not 50. Maybe 30, 31, 32. I will only share it if these people are successfully able to elicit that I will only share it if they send me an email apologizing and let me speak to the country. And even then, there's no guarantee that the country will salvage itself from the precipice of death, from the brink of collapse. Because at the end of the day, if you've kept a woman at 0 subscribers in Jatowe, what are the odds that her first video and even then long form content lingering into the 40 minutes per video, over 30 parts, what are the odds that South Africans are going to carefully listen to me from part 1 to 32? What are the odds? So it'll still be too little too late. But at least it'll be accessible by South Africans, and whoever can hear me might take my advice, including some of you gangsterous businessmen and women that refuse to hire Gen Zs because they have no experience. Think about my work model that I've just advised now. A consultation mahala, sis, mahala that I gave you. Hire them and put them on a KPI track that's going to give them skills while you make money off of them, and only once they're worth your while and no longer an overhead, pay for their education. But give them skills so that the nation and this ridiculous 37, 20,000, 40% nonsense unemployment rate will start to simmer down. Hire these Gen Zs. The only reason they're smoking flaka and baja and biking and flaka and baji and nyaupe is because I have an msebenzi. The only reason they kotane the ultra male bands are busy all the day long manzi bajaiva besides the next is because you don't want to hire them. Give them project management experience, teach them from scratch, but only change their job title after 4 or 5 years working for you. Then on that day they can out there soar, go and soar like a bird. Educate them if their parents could not afford to pay their fees. Pay their fees, but only after they've been working for you for 2 years, having proven themselves. Then you can invest in their education. Like, there is a way around everything. They're cheap labor. And in this economy of power cuts and all that jazz, people are out here willing to work for 7,500 rands a month insofar as you will give them that job. And then from there, buy fair skills that are going to be bankable in the future and increase their salaries not on percentage per year, but 30,000s, as in give them an extra 2,000 rands every year. So they start from 7,500 rands. Next year, over 9.5, What's 7.5? What is it buying exactly? The next year after that, give them 12.5. After 4 or 5 years of working for you, they'll be earning 15K. And from that 15K, they can be reasonably bumped up to a salary of about 30,000 rands as a project manager in their next job. That comes out of a job that pays them 8,000 rands a month and be willing to pay them 25,000 rands or 30,000 rands a month. Nobody's going to be willing to do that. They're going to be like, like 25,000 rands or 10,000 rands kanjani. It's just one job jump. Don't be way in over your head. Don't set them up for that kind of failure. Don't give them project management skills and cause their future employees to downplay the quality of their project management experience based on, what was I watching the other day? This thing here is called heuristics, and in heuristics there are errors that are committed. It's heuristics it's like a simple way of trying to understand something that frankly it's erroneous for you to understand it in so a simplistic capacity sometimes, but you use it in Jefela to help make very complex information seem more understandable and in smaller little chunks that make better sense. And so therefore you your heuristic or your schematic thought process thoroughly out here. Imagine that something is high quality simply because it's expensive. So somebody that is earning a salary of 50,000 rands per month or 60,000 rands per month, you automatically assume that they must be good at what they do because of how expensive they are to hire. So you hire them based on your perceived perception of their quality. But if somebody is earning 10,000 rands for the same skill, you're gonna assume that they suck. So that's why heuristically it's not gonna make any sense at all for you to keep them on a salary at 10,000 rands as you out here juice their skills in your company. On that day you're not even being godly, are you? Give them a decent salary bumps so that the next job that they move into will decently regard them. When then they want to apply for a project management job in another company, they'll understand why it's so low. You only have this many years of experience. They will understand that this person only has 5 years work experience or 4 years work experience, and that's all that they have in their back pocket. So it makes sense that they're sitting on 15,000 rands. But given that in these 4 years they've been interning as a project manager, that's 4 years of project management experience. So okay, I will consider giving you 25K from 15K. I will consider giving you 30K from 15K. But nobody's gonna consider giving you 15K just based on these ways in which people think. Nobody's going to be willing to give you 30,000 rands if you come from 10,000. They're gonna be like, Wahlanya, I'll give you 15. They might, this person will be set up for the failure of cheap employment forever, or worse yet, just disregarded altogether as low quality staff, as a low quality resource, precisely because they're so cheap. So don't set them up for that failure. What I'm getting at is businessmen and businesswomen hire these kids. They're cheap labor. Your business will thrive on little to no experience. It doesn't take 20,000 years to learn a system, and if they are hardworking and they want to push and they've got that gusto and that gung-ho, they might even be better than some of the most expensive program managers out here in the wilderness. Trust me, I've worked with expensive resources contractors at MTN that sucked. I was an administrator and I used to judge them with my double eye. I used to give them the side eye. People that were on contract out here getting paid ridiculous amounts of money, salaries of which I was sometimes privy to because I worked with the boss who was working with their salaries. And I'd be like, Lomuntu is earning this. He's always dropping the ball. He can't even deliver reports on time. Update the project plan. This person is a sucky resource. I don't know how they are with customers, clients, or stakeholders in the business, but they certainly bite when it comes to just the back end of their projects type establishment thing. So, and however, I have worked with really excellent project managers as well. I know the difference. And you, as a business owner, will know the difference when you work closely with your own subordinates. Who here is a star and who gotta go? You will know. And those that are stars, keep them on your star. And the stars of which, at MTN, for instance, they would get interns or people that were on the apprenticeship program, something of that nature, right? With graduates having never worked before, fresh out of university, and they would give them BA training or project management training or whatever. And these people were ultimately permanized after a year or two, and they were permanized into a job that gave them a decent salary. Do you understand what I'm saying? And their journeys, they started with me, their journeys coming from zero experience. I had some experience in corporate. I had worked before, so I frankly deserved a promotion better than them. They, however, got it because they got in Vela on an internship track. Yeah, project management. And so ultimately they skyrocketed past me. They skyrocketed past me in their careers, but only because our structure that trained them helped them to be birds that soar on their own, now alone with stakeholders, because they showed that they could hold their own weight, and they got trained next to other PMs, were given independence ultimately, and were allowed to just soar to a point of being made now project managers for this particular company, having come fresh out of varsity or whatever. So listen, if they don't come fresh out of varsity, those 2 guys, those interns at MTN, came out of varsity, and that's why they got an opportunity at MTN. But what about those that can't study? We're living in a country where people can't afford to pay fees for children. Bring them on board for even cheaper, and they will be more willing even than those that have graduated to work like dogs because nobody was willing to even look at them. And like I said, the ones who graduated did so because their fees were paid for. Somebody sponsored them. Some people want to go to school, but they can't. You're their solution. You don't have to pay. Nothing is mahala. You love quid pro quo. You love quid pro quo. You love scratch your back, I scratch mine like your animals in the wilderness. Let these kids scratch your back by gaining skills that they obviously can gain. You can teach them. If they went from grade 0 to matric, it says that they can actually learn, and then educate them. But keep them on the leash of these milestones I have highlighted above. Don't just give them your company resources and then they leave you and you have to then retrain new people. And every year get brand spanking new ones that you will also pay like 2 bob, like peanuts. But I mean, this is peanuts from Pachi, peanuts from Flaka, peanuts from Nyaube, peanuts from gathering dust, smoking cigarettes in the gussie, peanuts from partying too much, drinking alcohol that is bought for you, that's very cheap, in a pap sack by a boyfriend that keeps on cheating on you, and so 2 years from now you're gonna get HIV, but he's pressurized you because to have sex with him without a condom. I mean, it's peanuts from that kind of lifestyle. So they will take your 6,500 rands insofar as you will make it 8.5 the next year and 10.5 the year thereafter. I think it's decent given that you will be making from that little peanut earning intern with only matric their input into your business, given that it's going to equate to a cool million per month in revenue. The way they work so hard for you, what in the world is 10,500 rands? Nothing. Please, Kupali, investing in the youth if you don't want a revolution. Don't say I didn't tell you. I was young and now I'm old. And look at me be uninvested in by a whole crazy country. I'm leaving you, South Africa, but I gave you nuggets, okay? I gave you nitbits. I gave you capacity to be that twinkle little star, the only one in the neighborhood. If you don't want to take it, you don't gotta. But listen, I'm not sharing this content lang tella. Unless you write me an email. Look at you, humble yourselves and put yourselves your tail between your ugly legs, clanking them swords. Kiss, kiss, how clang, clang. Look at you clank it, freaking out and shivering on some I'm sorry, Karabo. You better say you're sorry. Better say you're sorry. Say sorry! Yeah, with that tone. If you don't want to say sorry, listen, you don't gotta. But I'm gonna give this very same advice to somebody else out there in the future, and their business will thrive because of me. I don't need you, you need me. You better elicit it, baby, elicit. Like your life depends on it, okay? As for all of y'all selling acha, it's okay, baby. One day you're gonna be on an aeroplane, okay? Acha yako izokusebenzela. And futhi, you don't have to sell acha. You can take Lovisa out of business. I'm your reseller. I think you can make a little bit more money than acha that way. But you're gonna have to be like a marketer of note. Acha. One day is going to be a badge of honor on your shoulder, okay? Moachi. There was a guy in my high school megatengisa iacha and ngibone mina nesiphaza mebathengisa amagwinya na what not ekseni nje kuphela ekseni very early megavuka ayosiza eshopini ngibo and he would come to school and nuki acha mega nuka amagwinya mega nuka amafuta misimkwara. I got that they were able to pay my school fees was a John ngale acha yakhona, so no bahleka cause every day unuki acha girl, every day onga di baby onga mafura. Very soon you'll be on an aeroplane to Korea. So no more bahleka, it's okay. I would laugh at you on some. What's that smell? Now I'm so hungry. I've spoken my piece. But insofar as it's gonna get you to Korea. Okay, I'm done. It's 4:48 in the morning. I gotta go shower now. I didn't expect to talk for this long, but now I'm finally done. Like, I'm officially done. Look at my 14-part series, just go listen to it. I'm finished, South Africa. I'm done with you, okay? I'm dusting my feet off, but these are my nuggets. And congratulations if you've elicited this. If you haven't elicited it, and I still am gonna share this content only, and I still am gonna maintain the thing I said in my 14-part series that's up and coming, that I'm only gonna post this video when I'm in Korea. Ashem, I know Butine. South Africa, I'm only gonna share this when I get to Korea. If you could not get to a point of humbling yourselves and putting your tails between your legs and letting me speak to the country, after you in yourselves were never mind burdened but famished from a lack of my content that you've been sitting on the chest of for all these years, and so okay, yeah, I've said my part. Peace. Oh, and one last thing I want to put out there. Yeah, I've showered and everything, and I'm about to eat. It's 6:11 in the morning. But I could not leave this out. Look, I'm wearing the same outfit as the last time, and I've also got a dog on, but I really have to add this last thing. If I've got new stuff that I want to add in this particular topic set, because I feel like it's very potentially true that people might actually write me and tell me to come back, because like, listen, type establishment thing, then I will start a new video and just basically carry on from where I left off with my ministry from scratch. But yeah, this is officially like my last video. Officially my last video. In this like 30-part series, whatever you want to call it. It's literally my last, okay? I'm not doing more than that. I will probably have something else to say in the future, but then it'll start a new video, like a new series. Like, this is too long. This is too much. But I just wanted to say, when I was in the bathroom, I was reminded of something. When I was showering, I was reminded of another thing that happened, y'all. That God showed me during the week. And I was like, I don't know about quid pro quo. I scratch my back, your back, you scratch mine like you're an orangutan in the wilderness or whatever. I know about like how you will keep on experimenting with me. There's no other way that I am going to post my content unless I have been set free to fly like a bird and to speak to South Africa, because that's my heart cry. It's not even so much about a YouTube channel as it is about a burden from God for the country, that some little illustrious animal is sitting on my chest, him and his side chick, whatever it is. I don't know whether if he's married her or what. This like ninja. These ninjas, they're sitting on my chest wanting their bread buttered on both sides and having their cake and eat it too. And the most illustrious one out of them is this Tumi guy. Including my ex-boyfriend. These guys that belong to this cult, buttered on both sides. They want to enter in by some other way. All things nice and comfortable and cushy. Without the way that the Lord showed them, this is the only way that you're going to get peace, Lana. There's no two ways about this. I don't mind talking to the country, but I definitely do mind talking to monsters that are sitting on my chest, ascertaining that I'll go nowhere. I see what the difference is, Lana. Yeah, earlier I had worked with the light off, but I feel like with the lights on, it just works out. So I guess I might as well have that spunk in my cheek. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm not going to parade myself in front of monsters that are selfish, greedy, want to surveil my life. I mean, the guy, Onatumi, keeps saying, uzochada uzobana abantwana singazi ukuthi wenzani ngingamboni ukuthi wenzani kwamele ngimsevele kwamele ngimbuke. And I'm like, yes, that is the very reason why I ran away. I like fled, okay? And now I've got a way out. I thoroughly do not mind for the life of me if at all it's going to keep me safer, if it's going to make my life less in danger. I don't mind being quiet for the rest of my days. Like, I will not be the first Christian in history that will have had a spate or a season of some kind of beef that God was behind clearly. That from a certain date up until they passed away 30 years later, 40 years later, they did not ever do it again. I won't be the first. Evan Roberts was one of them. And there's also another dude from Scotland that had a stint. God gave him power for one sermon that evangelized an entire town. And after that, he never got the same audience again. It was just that one moment God was doing that one work during that one time, and then he died. Just a regular preacher, an preacher that was not doing very much in the town, in the region at the time. I would not be the first Christian that God calls to a mission that only lasts 6 months. And for the rest of your life, you're at peace. Or for the rest of your life, you're underground. For the rest of your life, you're in hiding. For the rest of your life, you're somewhere else. I wouldn't be the first. So if I never ever get to establish a ministry that I really wanted to reach a whole bunch of people in my country through, if I don't get to basically fulfill my dreams as I had in my own plans. But this was what I was supposed to do I don't know. This was what God was doing with me. And it was supposed to do this particular thing. I was trying to talk to my country, but that was not God. That's not what God was doing in me. The Lord rescued me, he saved me, and whoever it is that he wanted to snatch even from the flames of hell through me, the 5 or 10 people that I got to reach, if that's all that God was trying to do through me, that's enough. My reward in heaven is great. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I thoroughly do not mind insofar as God will give me peace with it, even though it will hurt, because I don't mind being quiet for the rest of my life. I don't mind being underground for the rest of my life. I don't mind being it being just me, my husband, my children, and for the rest of my life, I will have no infamy at all in Christendom. I don't mind. If at all the infamy, grandchild, all this fervor and beef for Jesus was given me for the sake of my children, that my children might be tomorrow's Billy Graham, I'm cool with that. If my kids are tomorrow's George Whitfield, I'm good with that. Because really and truly, I've done my time. I've done what I was supposed to do. If my children are the ones that are going to be tomorrow's John Bunyan, I'm cool. At the end of the day, I got to live long enough. I survived treachery for very long. I survived mutiny against my life. I survived devastation. Enough to bring forth George Whitfield. Enough to bring forth the prophet Samuel. I survived abuse. I don't know what God is doing with my life. And I had my own ambitions, but if they were not his for me, they're not mine to fulfill. So I don't mind. So I do not mind slipping through the cracks. I thoroughly do not mind slipping through the cracks, because a lot of Christians in history have slipped through the cracks on earth, but they never slipped through the cracks in heaven. There are a lot of saints that wanted to do so much more for God that just didn't, because that was not what God was doing with them. The Lord selfished them, but through them, some of the fruit was born. You will remember how Adoniram and Ann Judson in Burma reached so few people for Jesus, and yet their testimony is so encouraging to us today. Some people slipped through the cracks in their generation and in their lifetime, but they make inroads. They make inroads. So Dumendoe and my ex-boyfriend, through some other way. I'm not desperate for ministry. Frankly, that's the resonating tone on my tongue that I was speaking in the very last video that I posted. I was like, mainstream anything has never favored Christians. So if at all, your work will not. Like Martin Luther's 95 Theses be proliferated through the printing press. It is to be expected. A lot of times, mainstream media will proliferate God's children's things when they're still in the experimental phase, in the alpha phase, in the beta phase, in testing phases. When they still want to market their product, they will allow you to use their platforms. But when they get big, when they become gargantuan, they start to extort, they start to exploit, they start to bribe, they start to do all different kinds of shoddy stuff, and they start to attempt to cause the children of God to compromise just to get a slot in a mainstream space that was never for us. The world hates disciples. So when mainstream is glitching and twitching and vomiting on the spot, gyrating, getting an epileptic fit on the body of Christ, that's when you need to realize that, okay, so I guess I wasn't supposed to be Martin Luther with the 95 Theses, because after all, the printing press, Mr. Gutenberg, had not just innovated it. He had not just pioneered it. It was already now doing its rounds. Like, listen, books were already being printed. By the time I tried to do a thing, it was already so popular, this here printing press. It was already getting a whole bunch of authors publishing entire novels. So I guess I came onto this bandwagon a little late. I was born in a time when heavy, hard knock persecution of Christians was happening through a platform that initially was willing to accommodate them. Therefore, what must be comprehended is that while it hurts, I'm not going to say I don't care. I'm not going to say that I'm unfazed or unperturbed. That would not be true. I am fazed. I love my artistic thing that I'm doing. I adore. It's very cathartic. I adore Lumsebenzi, but I am mature enough in Christ to understand that if it's not what I'm supposed to do, it hurts, but listen, I'll take it. Because what do I have? Great is my reward in heaven. I'm going to heaven when I die. I am going to heaven when I die, and my children are going to get born. My strongest and biggest desire here on earth ever since I was but a baby, but a bambino, when I was just a little girl, I've only ever wanted to be a mom and a wife and a mom. If that is all I get, that is all I need. If for that, I need to then, for the sake of the peace of my family, forget about doing what I wanted to do with my heart and my strength. Reach everybody I could reach for Jesus, especially the youth. If I can't do that, but God gives me family, I will have been blessed plenty. I will have done my time. Therefore, having stated that, let me just put this out there. You can't have your bread buttered on both sides, nor have your cake and eat it too. You can't bribe me. You can't extort me. You can't blackmail me, though I don't know what you would have on me to do that. You have no leverage on me with the fact that you're not getting your ministry unless you do ABC for me. You're in no position to be out here walking around in conditionals like your English grammar or whatever. If you don't do this, Garabo, you won't get your ministry. It's okay, I'll pass. Because if I'm gonna have my husband and my children in peace without you surveilling every move I make to a point of sabotaging everything I do, until I can't even bake a cinnamon roll without a headache, because of demonic oppression, then it's okay. Because on that day, if I'm underground without ministry, but with my husband, I've got love. And I've got the one thing I've wanted in this world. Family. that. Angifuni career, angifuni umsebenzi, angifuni imali, angifuni my business, angifuni YouTube channel nje ezochaza wonke umuntu la emgaqweni. More than ngifuna umndeni. And that, my darlings, I'm willing to go entirely underground to get. So nobody is going to tell me, if you want YouTube channel, you're gonna kiss my butt. No, I want a husband. I want a child. I want children. That is what I'm willing to grovel like a dog to get by any means necessary. And so I'm willing to keep quiet to get that. I'm not going to risk that for Jack. My husband is coming and my children. Nothing else matters. So therefore, anyone that says that will attempt, God showed me that Lotumi ufuna uzofuna, and I don't know if he indeed will do that. Like I said, if you want me to spend the chelete how, I will spend them, bugger. I've been given donations by people that were trying to cajole me or twist my hand. And so giving me those donations to do something I didn't want to do. So if you are going to, what's this? If you're going to transfer into my bank account to make me post online, come back, that comes from God. Because you want to surveil me, and it's worth a while for you to deposit a cool 30,000 rands into my account just to get me to come back to ministry with a small little note from Standard Bank that says, I miss you, or we miss you, please come back. But you're not willing to give me my YouTube channel. Because that's what I have a burden for. That's the condition. If you're out, you're going to be walking in conditionals. Right now you're walking in the second conditional. Concocting imaginary scenarios in your head. Oh, if I give Karaba 10,000 rands, then she will come here and talk to us so that we can block her whole entire future. It's the second conditional. It's highly unlikely going to happen. It's like you trying to plan what in the world you would do if you won the lottery. You're not going to make it. If at all we're going to have conditionals here, I'll give you conditionals. If you want me to come back, you will give me my YouTube channel. That is the first conditional, my darling. That's the only one that works out here. We're not going to roam around in second, neither third conditionals. Third conditional, the third conditional of which, after all, am I not doing a TEFL course? So I'm going to make that clear to you through all my, verbosity and what do you call this? My jargon. I'm going to give you the jargon of my education. The third conditional is, if only I had settled with a But Madlisa, I'd have a YouTube channel today. That's the third conditional. The second conditional is, I will give Karabo her YouTube channel if she comes back and speaks to us. I will give Karabo her YouTube channel if she dates me. No, that's the second conditional. If Karabo dates me, if Karabo marries me, if Karabo takes me, my children, my HIV, my 20,000 just issues in life and the baggage that I carry on my head like I'm Erica Badu. Bag lady, you gon' hurt your bag. Dragging all the bags like that. That's the second conditional. It's imaginary. It's highly unlikely, highly improbable. Possible, but improbable. Possible, but highly improbable. So in other words, it's just flat out imaginary. If you won the lottery, you would buy a house. You're unlikely going to win the lottery, so it's more than likely impossible. The third conditional, on the other hand, is entirely impossible. The third conditional is me thinking in the future when I'm a 50-year-old woman that has just menopaused and saying, if only I had taken that But Madlisa in my stride, I today would at least have a child with him and the YouTube channel. The third conditional is, if only I had given a But Madlisa a child and taken ARVs and taken all his nonsense in my stride, I'd have some kind of semblance of a life, and that third conditional would only come to pass in 50 years, where God did nothing for me despite all the work that I put in and all the prayers that I prayed. It's impossible altogether. The second conditional is highly improbable, though it is possible, but for the better majority, it's just impossible. And the first conditional is the only one I'm walking in. If you want me to come back and dump some content that you, in your famished disposition, might eat, oh ravenous beast, you will give me my channel. And for that, you're going to have to elicit your response. You're going to have to elicit it. You're going to have to figure out that what I'm doing is so keeping quiet despite all your spells and how cantankerous you are, how loud you are. Just the tumult of noise in my ear, mamela, like grabbies, a very loud noise. I still won't come back because nyazi ukuthi ngiyaphupha nyazi. God showed me lonke and you're like, uyazi ukuthi siyenzani, uyazi ukuthi siyambiza, uyazi ukuthi siyazama ukumhesha, uyazi kodwa akabuyi. And y'all are saying in yourselves, there is nothing in it for her. Slowly but surely you're coming around. Look at that. Looks like you're getting thawed. Oh, frosty little icicle. You're getting defrosted from your cold disposition. How mean you've been to me. Yeah, you're realizing. So until such time that you allow yourself to be demoted from the pinnacled anticipation of the third conditional being true of my life. If only I had given a But Madlisa a chance and a baby, I'd have a YouTube channel. Demote yourself then all the way down to the first conditional, never mind the second, where you're going to say, I will give, if only, Karabo. I will give Karabo her YouTube channel if she accommodates my trash. That's the second conditional. And then demote yourself further. Go down one step extra to the first conditional. That is, I will come back and post if you give me my YouTube channel. That's the only one that's going to take. And you're going to figure that out because I serve a holy God that loves me so very much. And he's not about to let me lose my most desired outcome. My babies and my man. In exchange for a freaking YouTube channel, I don't care about that. It was never YouTube that I was gunning for. It was the souls of men. And if at all, through YouTube, I can't get to the souls of men because you are hogging the printing press after it gets famous, even though you forgot that Martin Luther's 95 Theses made you fly, if you're gonna forget that Christians made your platforms big, I don't care. Sometimes God's disciples are Adoniram Judson. They don't get to the Burmese, even though they tried. They don't get to the Burmese, so stop slapping me with all different kinds of very intense, difficult grammar. It's making even my brains steam. So what about yours? After all, you're not as clever. If you were smart, you would not have done this to me. There is no other condition that will bring me back other than give me my channel. And how are you gonna figure that out? Elicit it. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna feed you. I'm not gonna spoil you. I'm not gonna spoon feed your nasty behinds. So tumindowe. Plotting and scheming. The only reason I'm sharing that I remember that God showed me that that's what you wanna do, because my banking details are littered all over my thingy, my bobby. My banking details are littered all over. Social media. You could transfer money into my account. All this time you haven't done that. You just have not been the most chivalrous of men. You put your worst foot forward, and yet the way that boy spells to get what you want your way, the way that you're so used to manipulating people spiritually in the back end, everything boy yo, I know black men, Zebulwe has made you something very different, very dark, very Lisilo-like. And so until such time that you get retrained to put his tail between his legs and muster up the courage to say lunch together, milkshake, a picnic. Until such time that you teach yourselves good old-fashioned Shellington from back in the day, where you go out here, tap on the shoulder of a chick you're scared to tap on the shoulder of, that until you teach yourselves to holler at women like that again. A woman to see if uzokoma instead of nibazama ukubayenza ukuthi banirhalele bagravule at your feet I have such a big crush on you. Until such time that you stop trying to make women pursue you by setting the field for yourselves to be ripe and ready for you to just go in for the kill, where you're gonna make women grovel at your feet until you stop all that stuff, Nina, my ritualists, forcing women that you have wanted all this time to looking at Ibo that came onto you hard until you just couldn't resist, because what man resists a beautiful woman kissing them and breathing down heavy? Men don't say I can't do this a lot. It's women that do that. So if a woman is out here throwing herself onto you because you made her throw herself onto you, and then you acting she's been manipulated into thinking she's been manipulated into thinking that she couldn't resist you. But you're the one that couldn't resist her until you made her think she wanted you, as opposed to the other way around. South African men, your baddest women in the game until nizifundisa ukushela vivye. Why that amnesia caught up with you all of a random Sunday? I don't know what made you completely forget how to shela, but you will learn it again, because bafazi abahlanyayo bazozifundisa nabo ukuthandaza until abojabu ababashelayo ngemithi will just stop. So when I was busy posting unongshela gaditlhare ure o batla ho nyala o ntshitse lobola le dithomi tsaho in the occult for me. Nna ke sa agree, family ya ka isa agree, uncle ya ka azangwa mo contact kodwa wangikhiphe lobola. What I called dibs on me. You've paid so much money just to get me, dog. My ex-boyfriend naye unenka ofela ntse le mata all over these streets le batla ho ngithola, making me look like ngiyahlanya. You will learn the hard way ngenkani we ukuthi lento le ayenzwa umfazi amiyenzi into lena. You don't treat women like this. You will make women do whatever it is that you want them to do, jumping up and down like oil on a frying pan. And say that all I have to do, though I have no manners, no respect, and she will jump around like oil on a frying pan. That you feel that way about us, that you have that little respect and that little regard for women in the 21st century who are a lot of times quite financially independent. Nonetheless, because you have a little bit more money than her, or maybe a lot more money than her, you then disrespect the living daylights out of her. I had a friend that was an independent working alongside me in corporate South Africa that started dating a guy that was an executive. He was doing very well. She was not a gold digger. He's the one that pursued her. And yet, because he has so much more money than her, though she was in herself an independent woman, he treated her like she was a freaking gold digger. Before abelengwana, because he wanted to lock her down and guarantee that she's not going to act a fool all up in his grill. And I'm like a commentary along the lines of and you're just working hand to mouth in corporate. So I can't just as a millionaire marry you and just feel like I do like I have to be sure. Imagine your boyfriend telling you stuff like that. And he was a ritualist. When I manipulated this chick was never a gold digger. She was my friend. And yet this guy was treating her like a gold digger. Until you stop treating us like we're gold diggers, you think you can just be disrespectful. Mamela. Until such time that you will overcome that hurdle, you're not going to get the best of things. You're not going to get the best of women. And then because of that, there's an imali that you're supposed to use to wine and dine a woman. And so because we're not unlike other men, you can afford to really show a woman that you love her. Pull out all the stops. Is your ticket to not be loving, only providing. There's a difference. That are just insulted by moneyed men that have no manners. They exist, and I'm one of them. And listen, we are many. The menazi as to how to treat abafazi, especially manyenzi imali. Ex-boyfriend yam, the way azisola ngakhona, because of the way that he started to treat me when he started making money. Shocked ngamhlanje that I get everything that he needs, but he has everything he wants because of money. Money made him rude to the one thing he couldn't lose, to the few things that he couldn't afford to lose. Money made him rude. Money made him entitled. Money made him lose manners. And very quickly after he started making it and he was rude to me, he lost me. And I would imagine many other things like friends. He was just rude. Now that he's a middle-aged man, like I said, he has everything he wants, but nothing that he needs. He doesn't have the most important relationships that would have made out of him a very humbled and grounded man. Now today, the gold diggers that indeed he pursued, that were willing to respect him just because he has money, as opposed to just because that's all that he has. Those are all the companies that he has out of people. Does not give you a ticket to lose character. Ever. Stop disrespecting us so. 30,000 rand 40. Seeing as we're in the conditionals space now, imaginary, right? Yeah, second conditional. If I had 30,000 rands from Budmadlisa to me, I would quickly pay off my fees at this so I can get to Korea faster than later. So I can get to Korea sooner rather than later. Right now I'm trying to raise it by working. But if you were to just dump imali in my account, hoping ukuthi ngizobuya ngibuyiswa imali because you think ukuthi you can lose abantu ngeimali nemithi, and if at all the imithi ayisebenzi then uzosebenzisa imali but wami uzongisiza to get my degree earlier rather than later. Nzekela 2 years. This thing will take you working 2 years to get to Korea. It'll become 1 year. It'll become maybe even 6 months. So listen, I dare you. Put money in my bank account and watch me pay this off faster than I would have. All you will do is expedite the process. Yeah, I'm degree. So I say this and I'm basically speaking this, that God showed me this guy wants to put money in my bank account. The guy in the US was stayed from putting money in my bank account because I came here. I'm a lecturer. I've been a lecturer all this time. So I've been a lecturer. I haven't been wise enough to elicit a response from people so I don't get disrespected and mistreated. Yeah, so during the time when I was a lecturer, the Lord showed me the guy from the US, the way that he was so desperate to get me back. He wanted to deposit $1,000 into my bank account. I'm boy, you and this depositing money into my account thinking that I'm gonna contact you and be like, baby, I miss you. And then $1,000, I converted to rands. I'm out just swimming in some dollars in a swimming pool. Boy. I'll take your $1,000 for someone who's unemployed to get $1,000 just dumped into your bank account overnight. Nabatong, 17,000 rand abuti. Because we all know how ridiculous the dollar rand exchange rate can be, or just generally is. I was like, I'll take that nearly 20,000 rands. I will take it, boy. I'll take it. I need it. I'll service my car, but you're still not gonna get me. I'm jail 99. I get it because they surveil me by Mamela. Because he was listening to me, duh. He didn't deposit it, but he deeply considered it. He deeply considered putting a whole bunch of money in my account with the second conditional of ruminating in his brain. If I deposit $1,000 into Karaba's account, then she'll come back to me. Then she'll date me again. Look at that imagination setting him nowhere free because he's not Tamia. And I made him not do it. This time around, however, you're not going to get the luxury of the second conditional that may or may not be fulfilled. You're going to be sitting in the third conditional. If only I had not deposited 30,000 rands into Karabo's account because it's amazamangani. To me, she would not have gotten her degree much faster than I anticipated. You will sit in the third conditional. If only I had not deposited that money into Karabo's account, she wouldn't have gotten her degree faster. So if you want to walk in that third conditional, you will deposit that money, but you're not going to get the advice from me because this time you're going to elicit it. So if you want to take the risk, you're going to walk in the third conditional because you're presently walking in the second imaginary conditional, and all that it will do is succeed the third conditional, but it will not bring the second conditional. If I deposit 30K into Karabo's account, she will be my wife, or she will come back to YouTube. She will come back to post in Jeffela for 30K, 30,000 rands in exchange, boy. For my husband and my children, for the sabotage of my degree that you're gonna do, no thank you. It's nothing in comparison to my future. I'm not coming back to speak to a bunch of monsters who are going to send me a small little note begging me to come back to YouTube with no ministry and with no audience that I'm trying to reach for Jesus Christ. However, with a little bit of money. So, since this time around, unlike the dude in the US that considered depositing $1,000 into my account, this time I'm not going to tell you. This time I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to elicit it. And if you don't successfully elicit that, you're going to be just throwing imali eningi nje emanzini, because already you've been saying ngilahlele imali emanzini against umfazi that is buried away from you. I'm buried from you. God compares you to headless chickens. The source of your sustenance has been cut off, but you're still running amok. Cerebos, see it run. See how it runs. That's you. You're like that Cerebos chicken, but without the head. Lamata, though your heads have been severed. You're so far wasting money on sorcery. Now you want to waste it on me. For you, it's going to be a waste, but for me, it's going to be like mamela. Chile don't deposit. I'm not going to give anybody their money back. I'm using it. I'm going to take it. And I'm going to go and pay my fees at Wits. You're just fast-tracking my journey. But you're not going to find that out until you give me my first conditional stay. My first conditional. Unless you fulfill that. If you want me to come back, give me my channel. No, not money. Because what am I going to do with 30K that's going to rob me of my degree? Rob me, thanks to your sabotage. It's going to rob me of my future, my husband. That's going to keep me in this country. I don't even think I can meet my husband until I've left the country. Listen, I'm not staying. So, the only reason I'm sharing this is just in case this dude called Dumi goes on right ahead because he is incontinent and haphazard and hasty. So, just by mere virtue of conceiving it in his mind, he might just do it. Avela ati send banking details and hope he's gonna bring me in yemali. Lao guy lawyer, buti na ke lawyer mara chalta teng tlhaloganya ko eng ka ena ko spenda ko patala Wits. All it will do is expedite my deliverance. So I'll teaspoon ukuthi niyenzani. If you send me money, I will do a video. I will share ukuthi imali ingenile. I won't share, however, that video. I will do a separate video. Like I said, going forward, I'm going to start a new video. Ukuthi, oh look, I said that like the one in particular, udumi ufuna ukungisendela imali. Ure ke khutle nje fela, ke khutle ke tšhelete. Ure o be le proof because he hadi kene. No. Taba tsa hore ke bonwe ke batho. So my YouTube channel will not be unlocked. Akazingeni. Kodwa ufuna ukungibonisa ukuthi he can take care of me. Abuti, I will pay my fees and still be maintained in okuphuma gini nonke. Amen. I would pay my fees and still be done with you. All as a concert. Uzozisolela indaba yokuthi, oh look at you throw imali yakho away again. This time instead of on imiti, you paid the woman umnikeze the boost that she needed to expedite it deliverance yakhe. Uzozisola. But I mean, you're not gonna find that out unless you walk in the first conditional. So let's just hope for the sake of your own sanity that you don't send me money walking in the second conditional, because if you do that, you will automatically end up in the third conditional. If only I had not sent her that money, she wouldn't have gotten married a lot sooner. Don't say I didn't warn you, I get. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. By the time I share this content, we will fight. You will know what in the world happened. But by the time I share it, I will either be in Korea or you will have elicited it. Congratulations, you figured out what's the thing that's gonna bring me back. Now that I've spoken that, okay, I feel like this time I'm finally done. If there is any other new thing that pops up at the top of my brain, it's a new video. I'm not doing more. Okay, signing out, Crank K. Peace.